All right, so are you ready for another deep dive? This time we're going into some really creepy stuff.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, you know about Mr. Nightmare, right?
Yeah, the YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's the one where viewers send in like their real-life horror stories.
Yeah, it's crazy, some of those.
Oh yeah, and we got a ton of listener-submitted stories from that channel.
Oh, wow.
And let me tell you, these are the kind of stories that'll make you check under the bed twice.
Oh, I bet. Like, it's just amazing how a lot of these stories, they start in places that you feel safe, you know?
Yeah.
Like our homes or like restaurants we go to all the time, or even just our cars.
Right.
And that's, I think, what makes them so unsettling, right? It's just like the ordinary suddenly becomes terrifying.
Exactly. It's like the world you thought you knew is suddenly like a little bit off.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, our first story, The Welder and the Midnight Intruder. That's a perfect example.
Okay.
So make this right. We're living alone on this huge farm after you lose your wife.
Oh, wow.
That's our welder. He finds himself in that situation.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, his only companion is his dog, Bosley, after his wife, Maria, passed away from cancer.
Oh.
You know, their farmhouse is full of memories, right? So the empty rooms are just a constant reminder of his loss.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, and that sense of isolation is almost like a character in itself in the story, right?
Right, you're completely reliant on your own senses.
Yeah.
Which, you know, can be even more heightened when you're grieving and you're vulnerable.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So one night, the welder is on his usual evening walk with Bosley.
Okay.
As he's passing the second-story window of the bedroom that he shared with Maria, he catches like this glimpse of movement.
Oh, no.
And he sees a figure standing there watching him.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and remember, he hasn't been in that room since Maria died.
Yeah.
So this is already super creepy.
Yeah.
He rushes inside, adrenaline pumping, but finds nothing.
Oh, wow.
He dismisses it as, his mind playing tricks on him.
Yeah.
But the doubt lingers.
Of course.
Yeah, and I think that's the hook, right?
Yeah.
It's that seed of doubt. He's already dealing with the loss of his wife, and now he's questioning his own perception of reality.
Wow. Have you ever experienced a loss that made you question what was real?
Oh gosh. That's a heavy question.
Yeah.
But so relevant.
Yeah.
And the story gets even creepier.
Oh.
Over the next few nights, he hears these unexplained noises coming from that upstairs bedroom.
Oh, gosh.
Like creaking floorboards, things moving around.
Yeah.
Each time he checks, the room is untouched.
Oh, that's creepy.
And then he finds the kitchen lights on, even though he's sure he turned them off.
Oh.
At this point, it's clear someone is in the house.
Right. Yeah.
This is where that fear of the unknown takes over.
Italy.
It's no longer just grief. It's this feeling that he's being watched.
Right.
That something is intruding in on his safe space.
Yeah, like that violation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's terrified.
Yeah.
Totally driven to the edge. He calls the police,
Okay.
but they find nothing.
Oh, wow.
He's left feeling totally alone and vulnerable. But the most disturbing part, one sleepless night, he finally forces himself to go back into that untouched bedroom.
Okay.
And what he finds is truly chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Maria's clothes, the ones that he packed away after her death, are scattered on the floor.
Oh, my gosh.
It's like shifting from unsettling to potentially supernatural.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like this direct link to his deceased wife, a tangible sign that something is deeply wrong.
It's like something straight out of a nightmare.
I bet.
And as if that wasn't enough, he sees her.
Oh, no.
Or rather, a figure that resembles her,
Okay.
standing in the doorway wearing Maria's clothes.
Oh, my God.
He insists it's not Maria, but the detail of her clothing is just bone-chilling.
Right. It would make sense that his mind would go there.
Yeah.
I mean, the human mind is incredibly powerful, especially when it comes to processing grief and trauma.
Yeah.
It's no wonder that he's seeing things, but that doesn't make it any less terrifying for him, does it?
Not at all, no. Yeah, it really makes you think about how fragile our sense of reality can be,
Right.
especially in times of stress.
Exactly.
So he tries to chase the figure, but it just vanishes.
Oh, wow.
After this, he's plagued by insomnia and anxiety. Every little noise makes him jump,
Yeah.
convinced that intruder is back.
Oh, man. He's living in that perpetual state of fight or flight, which
Really?
is exhausting,
Oh, yeah.
both physically and mentally. It's
Yeah.
like his nervous system is just stuck in overdrive.
And the story doesn't end there.
Oh,
One night, he sees the figure again,
oh gosh.
this time outside staring at him through the living room window.
Oh, wow.
He panics, grabs his rifle, and fires a few warning shots.
Oh, my gosh.
The figure disappears into the darkness,
Okay.
but his fear remains.
Yeah.
This experience leaves him deeply shaken and constantly on edge.
It's a reminder that fear can take root anywhere,
Yeah.
even in the place that we consider our sanctuary,
Right.
our home.
Yeah.
That feeling of vulnerability, of being unsafe in your own space, can be incredibly unsettling.
Absolutely. And it's a chilling reminder that sometimes the most frightening things aren't the things that go bump in the night,
Right.
but the fear that lingers long after.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know what they say? Sometimes even a late-night McDonald's run can turn into a horror story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which brings us to our next tale, the late-night McDonald's encounter.
Ooh, okay.
It's a story about those 2 a.m. cravings and finding yourself in a situation way creepier than like an empty ketchup packet.
Oh, I bet late night fast food, those are things that we associate with like comfort and routine.
Right.
So when something disrupts that familiar pattern, it can be like extra jarring.
Exactly. So picture this.
Yeah.
Our narrator is driving home after a long shift,
Okay.
exhausted and starving.
I've been there.
He decides to hit up the local McDonald's for some fries,
Okay.
thinking, it'll help him unwind.
Right.
As he's waiting in the drive-thru, he notices something strange.
Oh.
This old Volkswagen with tinted windows is parked in the lot, even though the restaurant is only doing drive-thru service at this hour.
That little detail, it's like a crack in the facade of normalcy.
Right.
It's just slightly off,
Yeah.
enough to make you wonder what's going on.
Yeah.
It plays into our innate ability to kind of detect patterns
Yeah.
and notice when something's amiss.
It's like that feeling you get when you think you're being watched.
Right.
Even if you can't see anyone.
Exactly.
So the narrator shrugs it off, but the image of that car sticks with him.
Okay.
Instead of going straight home, he decides to head to this nearby nature preserve,
Okay.
a place he used to hang out with friends in high school.
Okay.
It's this scenic spot with a lookout point that overlooks the city.
Oh, cool.
He figures it'll be the perfect place to enjoy his fries and reminisce.
So the shift in setting is important, right?
Yeah.
He's moving from like a public, well-lit space to a more secluded area.
Right.
It's almost like he's unknowingly stepping into the setting of a horror movie.
Right. And like as if on cue, as he pulls into the preserve's parking lot,
Yeah.
he sees those same headlights.
Oh, no.
It's the Volkswagen for the McDonald's parking lot.
Oh, my gosh.
Now he's really starting to get creeped out.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that happening twice in one night?
It's no longer just a coincidence at that point. That repetition
Yes.
really reinforces the feeling that he's being followed, that he's not alone.
Yeah.
It taps into that primal fear of being stalked, of being hunted.
It's like something out of a nightmare.
Yeah.
So he parks his car, keeping an eye on the Volkswagen,
Okay.
but it doesn't move.
Oh, wow.
He's not sure whether to leave or stick it out.
Yeah.
So he calls his friend Sebastian for backup.
Oh, okay. Good idea.
Thankfully, Sebastian picks up and agrees to meet him at the preserve.
Phew.
So while he waits, he keeps glancing nervously at the Volkswagen,
Oh, God.
trying to shake this feeling of dread.
Right.
Finally, Sebastian arrives,
Okay.
and he feels this wave of relief.
Yeah.
There's safety in numbers.
Right.
Right. They get out of their cars and start walking up the path to the lookout point.
Okay.
Just before the parking lot is out of sight, he glances back
Uh-oh.
and sees the Volkswagen's doors open.
Oh, my gosh. So the isolation he saw is gone?
Right.
The potential threat has materialized?
Yeah.
And it's coming for him.
It's a heart-stopping moment.
Yeah.
4 men step out of the car,
Okay.
and there's something instantly unnerving about them.
Right.
They're not talking, just staring at each other and sizing up their surroundings.
That's so creepy.
Yeah, so the narrator and Sebastian exchange a worried look and quickly continue up the path, hoping to avoid any interaction.
Yeah.
But as they reach the lookout point, they hear voices approaching.
Oh, so the tension is palpable?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
initial unease has escalated into like a tangible threat?
Right.
They're no longer just observing. They're about to become participants
Right.
in this unsettling scenario.
Totally.
Yeah.
So 3 of the men from the Volkswagen approach them, acting friendly at first.
All right.
They even offer to share their blunt,
Oh, wow.
which the narrator and Sebastian politely decline.
Okay.
But when the narrator, out of pure curiosity,
Yeah.
asks about seeing them at McDonald's earlier,
Uh-oh.
the mood instantly changes.
I bet that one question
Yeah.
disrupts their facade, right?
Yeah.
It's like a challenge to their control,
Yeah.
and they don't like it.
You're right. Their friendly act disappears, and they become hostile.
Oh, gosh.
It's at that moment that the narrator and Sebastian spot the 4th man from the Volkswagen
Uh-oh.
lurking in the trees, watching them.
Oh, my gosh. gosh.
It dawns on them.
Yeah.
They're outnumbered and in a very vulnerable position.
This is where instinct takes over.
Right.
It's fight or flight. In this case, flight is the only option.
Exactly. They bolt down the path, adrenaline pumping.
Wow.
As the four men give chase,
Oh my gosh.
they make it back to their cars and speed away,
Okay.
hearts pounding, fearing they might be followed.
So they've escaped immediate danger,
Right.
but the question remains, are they truly safe? Or is this just the beginning of something far more sinister?
That's a great question,
Yeah.
and one that we'll have to ponder as we move into the final part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feeling of being watched, of not knowing who to trust,
Yeah,
it's definitely unsettling,
for sure.
and it's something we'll explore further in our final story, The Abandoned Church and the Bloody Mirror.
Okay.
This one takes us to Ardmore, Pennsylvania,
All right.
where a group of high school friends, they find their kicks exploring abandoned buildings.
There's something fascinating about these forgotten spaces, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
They hold a sense of mystery, of untold stories, and maybe even a hint of danger.
Right.
It's like stepping into a time capsule,
Yeah.
uncovering the secrets of the past.
Totally. And for these friends, their favorite haunt is this abandoned church in nearby Narberth.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah, it's creepy. It's run down the perfect setting for spooky adventure.
Right.
So imagine this. 6 friends, young and maybe a little bit reckless, decide to spend a Friday night hanging out in the church's basement.
Right.
They've been there before,
Okay.
so it's familiar territory.
But you know, as we've seen in the previous stories, familiar places can quickly turn sinister
Oh, yeah.
when something unexpected happens.
Right.
It's that disruption of the known, the intrusion of the uncanny that really gets under our skin.
You're so right, and that's exactly what happens in this story.
Oh no.
They're hanging out in the basement,
Okay.
sharing stories and laughing,
Yeah.
when they hear a door slam shut.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's this sudden jarring sound
Yeah.
that instantly changes the mood from carefree to fearful.
Yeah, of course.
3 of the friends, totally spooked, decide to get out of there.
Okay.
But the narrator and 2 others, maybe out of bravery or maybe just plain stupidity,
Yeah.
stay behind to investigate.
Classic horror movie trope.
Yeah.
The group splits up.
It never ends well.
Never. So they slowly approach the door that slammed shut.
Hearts pounding
Yeah.
and cautiously open it.
Okay.
Behind it, they find this small, dusty room.
Okay.
The first thing they see is a dresser with a cracked mirror.
Okay.
But it's not just any cracked mirror, it's covered in fresh bloodstains.
Oh my gosh, that visceral detail, the
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
It immediately suggests that something violent has happened.
Yeah.
Something recent.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tangible reminder that they're not alone in this abandoned space.
Yeah, it's a detail that just sends chills down your spine.
Yeah.
So as they're taking all this content tree, and their eyes are drawn to this old black and white photograph sitting on the dresser.
Okay.
It's a picture of a woman in a wedding dress, smiling.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something off about her expression,
Okay.
something unsettling.
Right.
They decide to get out of that creepy room,
Yeah.
but as they turn to leave,
Yeah.
they hear another noise.
Oh.
This time it's coming from the main room at the basement.
It's like whatever's in the church is toying with them, drawing them deeper into the mystery.
Exactly. At this point, the remaining 3 friends have had enough.
Right?
They grab their things and run out of the church as fast as they can.
Okay.
As they're climbing over the fence,
Yeah.
the narrator glances back and sees a silhouette
Yeah.
standing in the window watching them.
Ooh, that image, the shadowy figure in the window,
Yeah.
classic horror movie ending.
Yeah.
It just leaves us with that lingering sense of unease. That feeling that they were being observed, that something or someone was aware of their presence.
It's a chilling end to their little adventure.
Yeah.
Years later, the narrator returns to the site of the abandoned church, only to find it demolished.
Wow.
Whatever secrets it held are buried under the rubble.
Yeah.
But the memory of that night, the bloody mirror,
Yeah.
the creepy photograph, and that shadowy figure,
Right.
it stays with him.
You know, all 3 of these stories, while different in their settings and circumstances, they share a common thread. The intrusion of the unexpected into the mundane, the disruption of our sense of safety and security.
Right.
They remind us that fear can lurk in the shadows, waiting to pounce when we least expect it.
Absolutely. And sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones that we create in our own minds.
That's true.
So a huge thank you to Mr. Nightmare for these chilling tales.
Yeah.
If you're looking for more real-life horror stories that'll keep you up at night,
Yeah.
we highly recommend checking out his YouTube channel.
For sure. And to our listeners, we leave you with this.
Yeah.
What would you do if you found yourself in any of these situations?
That's a good question.
Would you run, investigate, or just freeze in fear?
Yeah.
It's a question worth pondering.
That's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, sleep tight and maybe leave the lights on a moment.